Om Narayana Adi Narayana. Welcome back to Bhagavan Sri VENKAIAH SWAMY YouTube channel. Today we are going to learn from the sacred book SATCHARITRA of Bhagavan Sri VENKAIAH SWAMY. A Parayana Grantha, the life and teachings of Bhagavan Sri VENKAIAH SWAMY. It helps enrich your life by remembering Gurudeva every day. And the author of this divine book is MAKANI VENKATRAO garu, also known as Srivari Padarenuvu, whom Gurudeva lovingly called Venkatramaya. And this book was beautifully translated from Telugu into English by Dr. Ramakrishna garu, Veduru Narayanrao garu, and Dr. Tolana Ashoka Chakravarti garu. And this video presented by Mandava Ravikant garu with voice over by Kusuma Nandimandalam. Before we begin, please take a moment to like this video, share it with your loved ones, and subscribe to our channel. Your support motivates us to continue sharing the divine teachings and miracles of Bhagavan Sri VENKAIAH SWAMY. Don't forget to comment Om Narayana Adi Narayana. So, now with the blessings of Gurudeva, let us begin today's divine Leela. Title is The Extraordinary Service of Gurudeva, Faith, Sadhana and Divine. From this episode, we are given a powerful question, that is, how much can a person achieve when service to the divine becomes the purpose of life? Gurudeva's unusual way of serving. Gurudeva's very difficult spiritual activities and the way he continued to work despite physical discomfort. His body was constantly exposed to water and he spent long periods engaged in strenuous activity. The description tells us that water was in continuous contact with his body, reaching up to his knees. For an ordinary person, remaining in such conditions for a long period would be extremely difficult. But Gurudeva was not approaching this as ordinary physical work. For him, it was connected with sadhana, which is a spiritual discipline and dedication. His actions were not simply performed for appearance or recognition. They were part of his spiritual life, and this gives us an important lesson. When our work has a deeper purpose, our attitude toward difficulty can change. We may still experience pain, we may still become tired, but our purpose gives the strength to continue. Gurudeva is the divine in human form and compared to Narayana in human form. Although devotees saw him in an ordinary human body, they believed that his inner nature was divine, and because of this, his actions were understood differently. What might appear strange or difficult to an ordinary observer could have a deeper spiritual meaning for his devotees. This reminds us that spirituality cannot always be judged only by external appearances. A person may look ordinary from the outside, but their dedication, compassion, discipline, and inner realization can be extraordinary. A remarkable sadhana. After completing the spiritual discipline for the day, devotees who were waiting for his blessings would approach him with great devotion. They were eager to receive his grace. The description of Gurudeva's physical condition is striking. The extortion had caused severe physical effects, including injuries and bleeding from his feet. The imaginary is difficult to read, but it reveals how extreme his dedication was. And yet, the important part of the story is not simply the suffering, it is the purpose behind the suffering. Gurudeva was willing to endure hardship as part of his spiritual discipline. He did not make his comfort the highest priority. His life was presented as one of dedication to a higher purpose. And now, the devotees who came to his feet, or the people who are suffering themselves, came to Gurudeva seeking refuge. Some were frightened, some were worried, some were looking for spiritual guidance, and they approached his feet with faith. Devotees who were grief-stricken and anxious, looking toward Gurudeva for consolation. And what did they receive? Not judgment, not rejection, but compassion. The image of Gurudeva's feet becomes especially meaningful here. His feet had undergone hardship through his own spiritual practice. Yet, those same feet become a place of refuge for people who were suffering. There is a beautiful spiritual lesson in this. A person who has learned to endure suffering can sometimes become a source of strength for others. Gurudeva's compassion as someone who could comfort people and who were overwhelmed by sorrow. His words were simple, but they carried deep reassurance. Someone whose compassion goes beyond ordinary human limitations, those are called as Divine Father. When a child is frightened, the presence of loving parent itself can bring comfort. And in the same way, devotees believed that simply approaching Gurudeva and receiving his grace could give them courage. This is why spiritual masters are often remembered not only for their teachings, but also for the feeling of protection and hope that devotees experienced in their presence. And the meaning of the Kalpavruksha is Gurudeva is compared to the Kalpavruksha. In Indian spiritual tradition, the Kalpavruksha is associated with the idea of a wish-fulfilling divine tree. The comparison suggests that Gurudeva was like a source of refuge for those who approached him sincerely. But we should understand this idea at a deeper level. The greatest blessing is not always receiving exactly what we ask for. Sometimes the greatest blessing is receiving the strength to face what life has given us. Sometimes we ask God to remove a problem, but instead we receive courage. Sometimes we ask for an easy path, but instead we receive wisdom. Sometimes we ask for success, but instead we receive the ability to remain peaceful regardless of the result. That too is grace. The sunset and the work that remained. There is something symbolic about this is every day has a beginning, every day has an ending, and our time in the physical body is also limited. So the story invites us to ask ourselves, what are we doing with the time we have been given? Are we spending our lives only worrying about ourselves? Or are we using our time to help, serve, learn and grow spiritually? Gurudeva's example reminds us that time is precious. We should not keep postponing the good things we want to do. If we want to serve someone, serve today. If we want to forgive someone, begin today. If we want to remember God, begin today. If we want to improve ourselves, begin today. Because none of us knows how much time we have. Let us revise what we have learned from today's episode. Live with purpose, serve with humility, face difficulties with courage, help those who are suffering, and above all, keep faith in the divine. Gurudeva's life, as remembered by his devotees, reminds us that spiritual strength is not demonstrated by avoiding every difficulty. Sometimes it is demonstrated by facing difficulty without losing compassion, faith, or purpose. So, my dear devotees, remember these important points. Life will not always be comfortable. There will be days when we feel tired. There will be moments when we feel helpless. There will be times when we wonder why we are facing certain difficulties. At those moments, let us remember the example of Bhagavan Sri VENKAIAH SWAMY, and let us ask ourselves three main questions. First one is, can I face this difficulty with a little more faith? Second, can I serve someone instead of thinking only about my own problems? 3. Can I use today's time for something meaningful? And most importantly, can I keep my heart peaceful while walking through a difficult situation? That is the real lesson. Not merely to admire a great spiritual personality, but to bring one small part of that spirit into our own lives. That's it for today. I will see you in the next one. Until then, keep chanting the divine name. Om Narayana Adi Narayana Venkateswamy Sharanam.